Put that beat on replay, don't worry about what they say. Even the hands on a broken clock, I write 2 times a day. Stay on the grind, no delay. Lay back cause I'm on my way to detonating. I'm taking anything that stands in my way. Like tick, 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 boom, boom.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is Renegade Operative, and I am bringing you my overall thoughts and impressions on Microsoft's E3 2015 conference. It could be argued that a lot of people thought that Microsoft won for a big feature that they announced that no one ever expected for them to bring onto stage, but we're going to get to that in a minute. Let's begin with the first thing we saw, which is Halo 5 Guardians. I'm not going to sugarcoat this initial presentation at all. There was honestly a swath of boredom that washed over me while watching this gameplay. It was as if 343 was doing their best to just play it too safe to the chest this time around with Halo 5 Guardians. And to be perfectly honest with you, that sort of gave me the idea that this series has no fluctuating life and an almost beaten dead horse. Usually these Halo games, from what I played, only the immense fun factor resides in the multiplayer co-op aspect sometimes. So I saw an overall lack of just new things from them playing it safe so much, unlike Doom for instance. Halo was looking just a little bit fancier, but when it came down to the showcase of new things that I wanted to see from the series, it just became lackluster in contest. The next game they showed up was ReCore, and sadly this was a CGI trailer, but you can see from this new IP that they have their intricacies planned out for this series. So the core gameplay doesn't quite exist yet, but it's fascinating to see the folks backing this project are the Metroid Prime developers, along with Kenji Inafune of Mega Man fame himself, man. The most important piece of the puzzle is that this game has a companion, and every time this companion dies or something happens to it, he has this fearful soul inside of him, and you can embed him into all sorts of crazy shit like robots, machines, creatures. He probably gonna fuck shit up. So that's going to be the most hectic when it comes to firefights, I assume, and hopefully it does tie into core gameplay rather well. Now, in a surprising turn of events, and this is the big reveal that I was talking about earlier, or at least alluding to, in a surprising turn of events, Microsoft introduced a new backwards compatibility function for the Xbox One system. And we all know backwards compatibility has been quite wanted for a long time, to my knowledge. People begged and pleaded and asked for this ever since the exclusion of the feature when it came to current gen gaming. So this is what I find to be a big ass positive, and previously a big ass problem after the reveal. This is a lingering nitpick, so please be content, but I feel that there is some skepticism about the backwards compatibility option due to the fact that Microsoft was very, very vigilant on introducing DRM to their system. And you need to download these games in order to play them, even if you have them on disc. Now, of course, naturally, when it comes to PC, you can emulate a plethora of these games no problem. So something that PC had ages ago is something that consoles are re-implementing back into the current generation, which is kind of funny if you ask me. I don't think that they should have removed backwards compatibility in the first place. I also feel that what has been going around with the backwards compatibility option for the Xbox One is a little disappointing, and this is the fact that the backwards compatibility option is limited to the number of titles it has right now, apparently you cannot just simply sit there willy-nilly and pop in any 360 disc that you want. There was actually a list currently in circulation talking about how certain games are only allowed. Now, backwards compatibility for the Xbox might be a big win. It might be seen as a big win over the PS4. However, it's a limited list. And of course, while it's a step in the right direction, I personally feel there is some skepticism about it, considering how Xbox One had the DRM stuff in the past. So you never know how this stuff is going to go. I will definitely be keeping my eye on it if there's any further updates to the backwards compatibility feature. We're just gonna slightly hope that the best edges out with this practice. Forza Motorsport 6, while I am positively sure this will appease the racing aficionados and a lot of people, I am mostly a MotorStorm, Burnout, arcadey racing type of guy. So, unfortunately, this doesn't appeal to me. I don't see many interesting things on the plate about simulation racing. That's cool if you like it. And if you do like it, you can expect it around this September to drop. So, we have Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2. I know nothing about the series, so I could really give a flip, but it's rolling out in spring of 2016 for the folks that do. The next thing they were talking about was mods for Fallout 4 via console. That's always great to see mods that you can play with on console opened up. They also reported on the downgrade, aka The Division, that's coming from Ubisoft. It's receiving an exclusive beta this December, only available for the Xbox One. Now, all I remember from The Division previously, from what I've seen, is just snow and niggas and snow and some portal looking lights on people's back as they got tore up by bullets. They might have thrown a delay or two in there. I'm not sure. I haven't been following it that much, but I will say I'm hoping to God it's not a chore to play as Watch Dogs was for me personally. Those driving physics, man, nah. I'd rather fuck a sock full of poisonous tarantulas than to play Watch Dogs ever again. At least this Division beta will give players the chance to check out if there's any performance issues, problems going on with the game before launch. So certainly it can't be too bland, right? I think only time is going to tell on this one. Then there was an Xbox Elite controller for $150, and it is fully customizable, remappable buttons on the fly. This thing to me, though, is insanely overpriced. Even with this feature, I think I'll just stick to my cheap Logitech PC controller or DualShocks I have laying around for half the price. But they did show this on the floor, and they had a little video about it. So if anyone's interested in a completely remappable controller, maybe the Xbox One Elite controller is the thing for you, even at a steep price. I'm going to go through this really quickly because the next slew of games were more of a diverse range of indies with the almost reminiscent Walt Disney-esque illustrated look of Cuphead. And this was miraculous. This was appeasing to me on so many visual levels. It actually felt like you were in an old Mickey Mouse cartoon, which is something that I applaud. And you don't see that art style in many games that often. The gameplay looked reminiscent of Mega Man X fame, a platformer, a 2D shooter, but it looks more stationary than the X games in terms of how the environment flowed. Cuphead is something I definitely want to find myself playing, and is headed out of the beverage in spring 2016. Among the next slew of indies, they showed a game called Gigantic, and this is basically a cosplayer's wet dream of a video game just littered with dragons and was free to play. I again can applaud the art style of this. It looks very engaging, and the color mixtures were very vibrant, always popping off the page like a freshly printed comic book. However, since it's a MOBA and all, I don't play those that often. So I'll leave this for you guys to pick up on if interested, because Gigantic has a beta that runs in August 2015 this year, so you can enlist for that when you have the liberty to do so. So a trailer for Ashes appeared, and it was just cuts of glorious dark shots of a snowstorm, almost like a mountain-like vista with a creature flying overhead. A lot of people compared this to the likes of Ico in terms of the art style, but I kind of slightly disagree. I think Ico had a hint more brightness. They had a lot of exuberance going on with the environment. This looks a little washed and bleak. However, it's an action RPG in terms of what's important, so the core gameplay is going to be probably nice. We'll have to see how this one goes. There was no sign of a release date for this title, I'm afraid. The next thing they showed was Anno 2205, which looks like some space sim builder. Not really interested in that, but that comes out this November. And also, a funny thing is they didn't list which consoles this will be on, but we're going to assume it's going to be on the Xbox because it was at the Xbox press conference. Then we had Beyond Eyes, which was shown, which is an indie about a 10-year-old little girl, and she's searching for a cat and she's blind or something like that. It's a nice art style. However, it's not really my cup of tea in terms of gameplay aesthetics. However, for the people looking forward to this, it comes out summer on the Xbox One. Then they showed the Xbox game preview, which is sort of the same thing Sony is trying to do with early access to beta products. And that is going to combat Sony's beta access to games, and we'll get to play a lot of our favorites earlier than expected. I hope this fires up the competition to new heights, because this looks like nothing but another win for gamers having early beta access to games. Looking forward to that. They showed the next game, which was Ion, and it was some trailer where it was literally some dude just laying on the floor naked. What the fuck is that? Man, I don't even have an opinion. The next thing they showed off was some Rise of the Tomb Raider gameplay, and this was, some gameplay mixed in with some CGI scenes. The gameplay, of course, pertaining to Lara Croft and her new partner trying to do their best with platforming and surviving the ice storm going on. And the graphics for this looks incredible. The blizzard, the ice textures, how she has to cling to things of that nature, and it has that little glossy sheen when you see it. It is just visually stimulating. Of course, I would have to see more of the game in order to gain an analysis, a proper analysis on this, if you will. It seems that they are bringing in a multitude of things like new stealth options, new sneak attacks, the fact that you can hide in the bushes and trees. It reminds me of what Uncharted 4 is trying to do. Now, I don't mean to rile up any Tomb Raider Uncharted comparisons, but I'm just saying Uncharted has a new hiding mechanic where you can hide Drake in the bushes, and this game seems to have it as well. It also seems that Rise of Tomb Raider is also coming out on the Xbox 360, so it's gonna come out on the Xbox One and Xbox 360 as a timed exclusive. It's coming out November of this year, November the 10th, 2015. The next thing I saw was Rare Replay, or to coin a phrase from our resident DSP Tex from Twitter, Emulator the video game. They have emulated Rare games from 1983 to 2008, and the most notable things I see up here is Jet Force Gemini. Love Jet Force Gemini, I love the shit out of it. Banjo-Kazooie, Killer Instinct Gold. I see Battletoads up here. I see Perfect Dark, Banjo-Tooie, Conker's Bad Fur Day. Just a lot of retro stuff to get into. There's some obvious things that are excluded, like GoldenEye and Donkey Kong 64, which are still licensed by Nintendo, but overall, I have a PC, so if I want to really play any of these titles, or at least a good bulk of them, I could just emulate that. So yeah, my impression of this is not really too stellar. Ironically, Rare showed off a new game at E3 after this Rare Replay business, and this game was called Sea of Thieves. And apparently, from the looks of things, it does look impressive, but what I noticed is that there were name tags over different characters, so this has the ability to have some co-op aspects to it as well. There were some comparisons to it to Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and there were definitely some reflections to it on the trailer where you can actually invade people's ship, you can make them walk the fucking plank, which I always find absolutely hilarious to see. You can have ship battles, and admittedly, ship battles with other friends and playing competitively against other people on sea. That'd be pretty fucking awesome. I am absolutely glad to see that Rare is back into form with this, because if you guys weren't following them or you weren't well aware, Microsoft was pretty much sitting on them for years, not producing anything. So I'm glad to see them back doing games again. I also forgot to mention that they literally announced the Dark Souls 3 announcement at the Microsoft event. It was in my notes, and I literally almost forgot that they announced this. And I was watching E3, by the way. I was going along with it, but some things I didn't get and some things I did get. But I did get Dark Souls 3, and again, I'm not a big aficionado of the Souls series. I haven't touched Bloodborne. I'm sure this will be probably a good announcement for some. Others are a little bit tired of the Souls series. A lot of people think that they got something going with Bloodborne, a new IP, something to work with from there. But you never know if the Souls games could still have some life put into them. So, let's just wait for this to come out early 2016. Next thing I saw was Fable Legends, and I guess you guys already know what time it is if you've been following these videos for the past week or so. It is time for Kanye. Say hello to Kanye, everyone. Kanye usually comes up and shrugs when I don't give a damn about something, and I could sure as hell not give one single damn about Fable Legends. I have no interest to even go to the series, try the series, play the series, or whatever. I don't have any personal beef with it. I just don't want to play it. Simple as that. It's not interesting to me, and so is this title. Pass, 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 pass. They have some Minecraft HoloLens stuff on the stage where you can interact with like blocks and knock them down, or you can create shit like that. I'm really not into the whole VR kick, as I said earlier. And the last thing on my list is Gears of War 4, or better labeled Game Too Dark to See Any Fucking Thing, because the shadows were off the chain. Raise the gamma, raise the brightness. Seeing this shit play in nighttime was just like slapping a black wallpaper over the screen and hearing the characters talk to each other in a very Last of Us-like manner. There was a lot of dialogue that was displayed here with these new guys that probably aren't going to be interesting to a lot of series veterans, because people miss people like Marcus or Barrett or Cole or things of that fucking nature. So we have Gears of War 4, guys running away from tornadoes and ridiculous shit like that. And then, to top it all off, they're coming off of Judgment, which was a horribly bad game, and the Coalition is developing this, so I don't know if it's going to be another mediocre title. They made a lot of changes in Judgment that pissed people off. I think Cliff Bleszinski wrapped up this series perfectly, so hearing that it's getting a sequel is a little bit baffling to me, but we'll see what happens. And that's about it. That concludes it for Microsoft's Xbox E3 Conference 2015. I will overall score the Microsoft press conference with a solid B on the report card. It had some pretty interesting looking exclusives, and they did nail it with the backwards compatibility, despite my issues with it, despite my nitpicks with the DRM that they have, or any future policies that they might implement down the road that could affect backwards compatibility. This is a win for Microsoft in terms of having that, but I felt that there were too many CGI trailers, In fact, I think Microsoft had the most of these, and there were some very interesting chugs with their exclusives on the demonstration side, but still, it was still an impressive conference. It was nothing shy of being good, and I am genuinely impressed by Microsoft. I was really bored of their conference last year, and they stepped it up a notch. But I still think that I rated Sony a higher letter grade because they just bought those bombshells. Microsoft needed more of those, and the only one that they had was backwards compatibility. So, this is Renegade Operative signing off. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did making it. I will put the rest of the pressers up soon. Look forward to that. Peace out.